Hey guys, the Common Man here. I'm going to try to keep this somewhat short today, but we're going to take a look at two knives that I think are very comparable, two knives that most people are probably going to look at kind of back to back to determine which one they prefer. So to give you a little background, I was a longtime carrier of the Para 3. I still carry the Spyderco Para 3 on most occasions. That's usually the knife I go to, whether it be this black handled G10 version or the DLT exclusive 20 CV and I guess tan G10. So those are easily my most carried knives. But another knife that I wanted to take a look at, which is one that I did do a review on, but like I said, a back-to-back comparison to me seems appropriate. And by the way, I apologize for my voice. Me and my whole family are getting over RSV, so shout out to Emergency. Hopefully it helps us kick this and keep from getting it again, right? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. We'll get these out of the way. So like I said, this is going to be the Demko AD20.5 versus the Spyderco Para 3. Again, most of you are probably familiar with the Spyderco Para 3, and a lot of you, I'm sure, are with the AD20.5. But this back-to-back comparison hopefully will help some of you make a decision of which one you'd like to pick up, or if you'd like to carry one over the other. So we'll do an overall size comparison here. You can see overall their sizes are very, very similar. Length is almost identical from the tip of the blade all the way to the back of the handle. It's going to be very, very close. One place where I do notice a little bit of a size difference, a little bit of a little bit overall difference, I guess, is going to be in the handles. You can see the AD20.5 actually appears to have maybe just slightly more handle space, room for the hands. So you're going to have a little bit more finger space on the AD20.5, I think. And I'll show you that in a little bit when we go over the handles specifically. Cutting edge is going to be very, very similar. You can see, let's go ahead and get this up closer, see if we can get a better comparison. Cutting edge is going to be very similar. I'd say almost identical. Obviously, a slightly different blade shape and cutting edge geometry and shape, but very close there. We'll look at thickness. This is going to be a pretty big difference, actually, surprisingly big difference. You can see that the Demko AD20.5 is considerably thinner than the Para 3. I know it may not look like a lot, but when you get these in hand, you really do notice a big difference in that thickness there. We'll go ahead and take a look at closed size. Again, I talked about this lock here a little bit. May not be so intuitive for some people, but when you close this thing, make sure you get that shark lock all the way back. I still find myself struggling with that every once in a while. But you can see closed size is very similar as well. So the side profile, not too different. AD20.5 is actually just a hair longer, very, very close. You can see the height. Para 3 is definitely going to be taller in the pocket. Not by a ton, though, because at the tallest point of the AD20.5, you can see there's not a huge difference there, maybe, what, quarter of an inch. You may notice that in the pocket, you may not, but it's really not that bad. Overall weight difference, I don't really notice a big difference here, which is surprising because we've got the Grivery handles versus the G10. I think usually G10 is just a little heavier. However, no, I guess I was going to say that this has full metal liners, but the Para 3, it has full metal liners as well. So, yeah, you can see, if you can see. Anyway, full metal liners in both these, and I apologize. There's a little bit of dust and dirt down in these. These are, like I said, regular carries of mine. So that's kind of the overall. Let's take a look at some specifics here. We'll go ahead and look at the blades. So the Spyderco Para 3 is going to have, this version is in the S30V. Now I believe the standard is going to be S45VN, which is a little bit of a step up. The specifics on it I'm not going to go over because I'm not super well versed in metallurgy and all the different blade steel characteristics. But as far as I understand, just to give you a little bit of insight, I believe the S45 is going to be just a little bit better edge retention. But beyond that, I'm not terribly sure. But I can say S30V is definitely going to be a little bit more of a premium steel over the AUS10A, which comes on the Demko AD20.5. The AUS10A is still a pretty good steel. I understand that it is going to be decent edge retention, not quite to the point of S30V, decent toughness and all that. Ease of sharpenability is going to be a little bit better than the S30V. That just gives you an idea there. Blade shape, you're going to have that beautiful leaf shape that you expect from the Spyderco Para 3. A lot of Spyderco knives have this similar shape, very similar edge shape. You can see that it's a little bit more of a curve. You're going to have a little bit more belly here, but with a beautiful piercing point there. You're also going to have a full flat grind with a very thin behind the edge. So slicing is going to be beautiful here. Like I said in another video, the piercing and draw cuts with this knife is just very, very good. And a knife with a little bit of belly, it's really, I'd say it excels. It excels over a lot of knives that have that a little bit more belly down here. Um, yeah, just an overall beautiful slicer, beautiful cutter. Absolutely nothing in the cutting path here. You can see that that's one thing I love about the Spidey hole, they call it. Just nothing is going to obstruct your ability to cut and slice because that hole has nothing protruding. It's a hole, you know what I mean? So it's totally out of the way. The worst thing that could happen is maybe something gets caught up at the top of the hole here, but I find that unlikely. So very nice there. Demko AD20.5 is going to have a very nice flat edge, which I really like. Again, for the piercing and draw cuts, this is going to be exceptional as well. Not quite as pointy up at the tip, but it's still going to get the job done because it does have a pretty decent point there. Again, to be able to get into a package, get into packaging tape or something like that, you can really get it in there, pull, and you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful cut. This is not full flat grind, however, it is flat ground. I say about 3/4 up the blade, very thin behind the edge. And let's actually look at the blade thickness. Demko AD20.5 is going to be just a hair thinner, but not by much. But you can see that, they're going to have very, very similar cutting ability, very similar slicing ability. And from my experience, they definitely slice very, very well. And I'd say it's pretty comparable, actually, between the two of them. Now we'll talk about the handle. Like I said, AD20.5 is going to have a little bit more handle space, really. You've got a good 4-finger grip right here with a little bit of handle left over, and you do have the ability to choke up, and when you do, you've got quite a bit of handle left over. So the real estate here is really exceptional. You got tons of room for your hand, plenty of spots for your thumb. You can put your thumb back here, thumb up here. You just want to be careful that you don't pull your thumb back or you're going to disengage that lock. That shouldn't be an issue. When are you ever cutting where you're pulling your thumb? You should always be really pushing, and if that's the case, you're not going to have an issue with activating that lock. But yeah, nice jimping up for the thumb. Like I said, great ergonomics, great room for the fingers. Another place that this is going to excel over the Spyderco Para 3, which I was very surprised about because Grivory tends to be a little bit more slippery, but it's actually going to be overall grip. The G10, even though it does have this nice peel ply texture, the G10 on the AD20.5 has this very aggressive texture, and you're just not going to slip on that. I mean, that thing locks you in so tight. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're activating the lock, opening the blade, holding it for some serious cutting, you're not going to slip on that. It's got awesome, awesome grip. So very, very nice there. Overall shape, there's a little bit more, going on here. Yeah, I guess the handle's a little bit more intricately designed than the Spyderco Para 3, but it all comes down to taste, what you prefer. The Para 3, you're still going to have really nice room for the hands. You're going to have good 4-finger grip, whether you're back here or up here. You do still have a fair amount of handle left over, but like I said, with this little bit of ramp here, it doesn't leave quite as much room for your fingers, but you're not gonna find it to be an issue. Now, one place where I think the Spyderco really excels over the AD20.5 is the way it fills out your hand. I know I said that you got more real estate on the AD20.5, and that is true. You feel like your fingers have a little bit more room in some cases. However, the Spyderco Para 3 really fills it out. And the reason it does that, I think, is because it's got a nice bit of body back here, but really right up in here. And now I know a lot of people put the skinny mod handles on. I think that's doing this knife a disservice because this knife is exceptional in the way that it fills out the hand, and yet it's such a small package, really. So you feel like you have a whole lot of knife in not really that much knife, and you really got a nice bit of cutting edge too to round that out. So I think that's a little bit of a win for the Spyderco Para 3 as far as, like I said, really filling out that hand and feeling you've got a great grip on there. I think that's it. It's exceptional in the way that it does that. And one more thing too is that thickness. That thickness is going to help in that as well. Now, pocket clips. This Spyderco comes with a different pocket clip. This here is the Lynch clip, which I've liked. I had a problem. You can see it's a little bit scratched up. I did have a problem with it catching. I don't remember what it was, but I was walking against something. It caught on it, and it pulled this thing out. And I'm telling you, this Lynch clip, it left about a 1/4 inch gap. And I was really upset about that. I was surprised that this would deform that easy. I don't know if that's just characteristic of a titanium clip. I'm not sure if it's the Lynch clip. I really don't think it's anything against Lynch clips, and I'll certainly buy more in the future. But that's one thing that I was a little upset about with this Lynch clip. I was about to say that the Spyderco Para 3 does come with a different clip. The clip is not a deep carry at all. I mean, the original stock clip carries about right here, whereas this one's up here. So that's kind of a bummer. You've got a lot of handle sticking out of your pocket with the stock clip on the Spyderco Para 3. The Demko AD20.5 is quite a bit better. You're going to carry right about here. I know it doesn't seem like it's a ton more, but it is noticeable, and it's a big deal to me when you've got tons and tons of knives sticking out of your pocket. I like it to be as deep as possible, so 80/20 is a little bit better there. And the design, overall design of the clip, I think is a little bit better. I wish I had the original clip with me. Unfortunately, I don't. I can't find it. I'm not sure where it's at. But that's just a quick overview of the clip there. Next thing we're going to talk about is going to be the lockup and the action. So there's no doubt about it, in my opinion, one is definitely going to be more fidgety over the other. That's going to be the 80/20.5. I mean, this thing, as I just absolutely ruined this. Okay, this thing you can see is just flip, 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 flip. It's beautiful. And it came out of the box with just an absolutely incredible action. Drop shutty, without a doubt. It was a little bit gritty when I got it, but through a little bit of use, it cleared right up. It was really great. Didn't have an issue after some time with that. And you can do, I mean, there's multiple deployment methods. You can do the thumb stud flick. You can do the Spidey flick. You can do the, shark lock flip, or whatever you want to call that, where obviously you can ride it out very nicely. That's no problem. A lot of different ways to open it, one way to close it, and it's absolutely beautiful in that way. And another thing that's so cool about this knife is when you deploy it, watch this, it actually pops that blade out just a hair, so it helps you out, which is so cool. It does have a little bit of a bounciness when you close it. Don't love that. It makes it a little bit noisy, a little bit more rattly. But if you time it just right, you can actually get it to just, what I mean by time it just right is you pull the lock as the blade's coming down, you kind of ride that lock back and allow it to kind of suck it in, because it does kind of suck it in, which is really cool. Para 3 also has a really great lock. It's the compression lock, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's got the it's similar to like a liner lock. However, it actually pushes a piece of metal inside, in between a bar and inside a part of the blade, so it actually works on compression rather than two forces kind of against each other. So very, very strong lockup. And this, again, the 80/20.5, also incredibly strong lockup. Same designer as the what is it, the oh boy, the cold steel lock. I cannot believe it's slipping my mind, but anyway, same designer of the cold steel, the back lock. He's the same guy who designed the shark lock here, Andrew Demko, and so it's going to be quality. Guys, please put the name of that lock down below. I'm almost kind of embarrassed I can't remember the name of it. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Spyderco Para 3 compression lock, really nice, easy activation. You're going to have your fingers on the grip. It's really not, you're not moving around too much to go ahead and activate that. Fingers are completely out of the cutting path. Really, really nice. Para 3, in my opinion, it didn't come out of the box with as nice of an action. It did take a long time to break in. I did have to fiddle with it a lot to make it so that it was a really, really solid lockup, that it was also drop shutty. It took a lot of work, whereas this thing right out of the box was like, I mean, it was just beautiful. It just dropped right away. So, I think kind of, in my opinion, the shark lock takes a win as far as fidgeting, as far as out of the box performance. Para 3, like I said, took some breaking in, some fidgeting, some monkeying with it, some a little bit of lube, and some love to really make it live up to its potential. But to me, it's kind of a toss up as to whether one's better than the other. One thing that I do like on the Spyderco Para 3 is that the lock is a little bit less kind of noisy. It's less of a I don't know, it's less of an ordeal. This is kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like dramatic. I don't know why, but it almost feels so dramatic to me, that shark lock, when you use it. And the Spyderco Para 3 is just like closed. Well, yeah, this bounced a little bit too, but, no big deal. I don't know. My opinion, take it for what it is. You guys form your own opinions as well. Next thing I think I'm going to talk about is the overall value, and prices are going to change. Prices always change. Right now, like I said, this is the S30V. This is kind of the older blade steel. They just switched over to the S45 VN for Spyderco Para 3, and I believe PM2 as well. You're going to pay right about $150 for the Spyderco Para 3 and that S45 VN. I paid about the same for the S30. Demko AD20.5 right now is about actually the same price, about $150. Now the thing is, my understanding, there's probably a little bit more engineering that goes into the AD20.5, and like I said, the action came incredible out of the box, minus a little bit of grittiness, which I knew was going to work out, and it did. But so maybe a little bit more complicated machining, a little bit more complicated assembly, I'm not sure, but I was happier with the action overall out of the box with the AD20.5. I've had kind of mixed results with the Spydercos as far as being drop sheddy, as far as being a solid lockup, being really smooth, those kinds of things. But again, same exact price, $150, but with the Spyderco Para 3, what you are getting is a better blade steel. I think you're getting a little bit better quality blade steel, and you're also getting that G10 handle. Those to me are pretty important. I do want to get, some people say, materials shouldn't be the number one deciding factor on a price, and I'd agree with that. I think that quality of machining and where it's machined and things like that definitely come into play. But, you're getting OS 10A with the AD20.5, Grivery scales. I'd love to see, in my review video of the AD20.5, I said that I'd love to see either a better blade steel or a better handle material, and I still stand by that. I think for that price, I would like to see G10 handles or, I don't know, S45 VN steel. That's my opinion. Again, take it for what it is, take it for what it's worth. I'm hoping this video helped you guys kind of made a decision, or helped you work towards making a decision whether you want to pick up one, carry one over the other. I carry both of these. Para 3 still gets a lot more carry in my opinion, or for me. But anyway, just trying to help you. I know when I'm looking at one knife versus another, I like to see all these different videos, and I like to have everyone else's opinions. And I like to have a lot of opinions. So again, hopefully this helped you guys. All right. Well, if you guys liked the video, please hit the like button. If you have any comments, drop them down below. Please help me with that cold steel lock. I'm dying here, guys. I can't believe I forgot what it's called. Pathetic. Anyway, all right. You guys have a good one. Consider subscribing if you'd like. Bye-bye.